Hey folks, welcome to my build starter video for 1.2. If you are upset about the Frostclaw nerfs in the patch notes, this might be the video for you if you want to continue playing Mage. If you do like these sort of wacky builds, please consider leaving a like on the video, so that is the best way to support me. And yeah, let's jump into it.
You've come to the right place, traveler.
This is a build I'm super excited to bring you guys. Keep in mind this is still very early stages. We haven't even had 1.2 yet, but so far it's already looking pretty incredible. The items, when you just look at it, it doesn't really make sense. It looks like some sort of April Fool's joke or something like that. But it is actually a build. This is a strength stacker mage. The attribute swapping coming in 1.2 is basically what enables this build. It wasn't really possible before. As you can see, I have Cleaver Solution, and I have Fundamental Criterion. We're stacking strength, so you have a huge amount of damage from that, absolutely massive. You can see here 187 strength, and that means that Cleaver is actually giving us 187 int as well. The thing about Cleaver Solution though is it doesn't have any spell damage. It's not even a sword, so you can't slam spell damage. So how do we do damage? Well, this is a Brand of Deception build. So the Brand of Deception doesn't really care about the flat damage, base damage, whatever, of the skill that you're using to apply it. None of that matters. All that matters is you are scaling the DOT and you have increases and more multipliers and stuff on the skill that are generic or apply to the damage type itself of Brand of Deception, which is lightning. So what we're doing here is we have a bunch of increases to damage over time, like you can see here, increased damage over time. We have increased lightning damage. We have a bunch of generic more multipliers. We have a bunch of intelligence, which is scaling the skills that are applying the ailment. So that's also scaling it. We have, for single target, a huge amount of more multipliers on our Runic Invocation. And then in addition, for your clear, you're going to be zooming around with Mana Guide Focus. And the Mana Guide, so you saw this was recently nerfed. It used to be 3 lightning blasts per second, now it's only 1. But we actually don't even care for a build. That doesn't affect us at all, because you can only apply 1 stack of Brand of Deception anyway. So it'll just keep reapplying. That's fine. The quality of life is big though, because you're just basically an Autobomber. Let's quickly touch on the damage, where the damage actually comes from, and what it should look like. So keep in mind this is a min-maxed version of the build. Don't worry though, the damage is high enough that even if you don't have all of this gear, you're probably still going to be fine. This is roughly what I'm estimating the damage should be. Now the damage per second is a little bit weird to calculate with this. Some of that is front loaded, so it's going to like apply a bigger amount up front and then another tick right away. So it's probably going to be over 2 point something million, maybe close to 3. And then you have all the resistances, but we do have penetration and stuff like that. So the damage should still be really high. Even if your gear is not insane, it's going to be very high damage. And then the clear, even with the Lightning Blast brand that doesn't have as many more multis, you're still going to be getting hundreds of thousands of damage per second. Like it's a lot. So the damage is going to be there. The quality of life is going to be there. But that's not even where this build shines. Where I think it's absolutely insane is actually how well the defense has come together. Because you are stacking strength, you have an absurd amount of increased armor. So you can see here we have 4% increased armor per point of strength. So this here is already giving us almost 800% increased armor. Plus, if we look at the focus tree, you can see the node here, 8 armor per point of int. So we also have the int with Cleaver Solution. That's not even factored into the character sheet, by the way, like the Last Epoch Tools is not including this yet. Even without that, we're already at 16,000. I think if I uncheck it, yeah, you can see it's not even accounting for the armor that we'll get from focus. Yeah, this is just from like the flat armor blessing. You can see body armor, belt boots. Yeah, so this isn't even accounting for the 1600 flat armor we're going to get from focus. And of course, this cuts the armor in half. But because it's not factoring, you're still going to have over 10,000 armor with this build. Because you're strength stacking, you can actually even use Bastion of Honor. You get the strength, which is great, we want strength, but you also get block chance per strength. And the idea with this is because you're kind of zooming around with focus, you're probably going to be somewhat close range. You should always have this 100% block chance. Like there's no reason why it shouldn't just always be up. and you can slam block effectiveness because you don't really need anything else. This is actually a viable block setup for Mage here. And where this even comes another level further is you get a boost of ward based on the amount of armor you have. Normally this isn't even that crazy because you're a mage, but for this build specifically, we're talking thousands of ward every 2 seconds. I don't even have a setup here, but let me just jump in game real quick. I'll show you what I have for 1.1. So keep in mind, this does not have any of the new stuff from 1.2. We're basically missing everything that this build needs to function. We don't have mana guide, and I have like absolutely terrible gear because I've never done a strength stacker. I'm only at 76 strength, so I'll have like many times more damage and defense on the actual build. But just to show you guys what I'm talking about as a concept, you can see here 4,000, 6,000. So we'll just jump into an echo here to get an idea of the survivability on the focus. So you can see here with the channel. Just imagine that I'm floating around with mana guide right now. So yeah, we're extremely tanky. And then you can see I just dropped one brand on that rare and it's dead. This would automatically be casting Lightning Blast, of course, but no mana guide, so I can't show that. But you get the idea. So back to the passives. Here you can see we take increased damage. I skipped the int here. So increased damage, and then I grab health and mana, because it's the only thing here that actually does something. I take reactive ward just so that I can get to the ward retention. Most of this stuff is not helping us in the tree, so we just take the things that do give us some value. In the SORC tree, I just took this for movement speed, because I think movement speed you will want. You can go through here for the lightning pen if you think it's worth it. I don't actually know if it is. And then I just took these points here just for a bit of mana, a bit of ward per second. You probably don't need it, but you can take that. In the Spellblade tree, I just went through here to the Flamewalker Fire Res Shred, which is getting converted to Lightning Res, so you're going to be kind of close to bosses and enemies and stuff while you're fighting them, zooming around them with mana guide, so just convert that into Lightning Shred. Through here, we just grab this one because we need the points to get here anyway, and this is another more multiplier with Shield, which we should be applying as well. Then here we just have a little bit of Ward Decay Threshold. I don't think you actually need this, but yeah, if you think there's a better place to put these points, you can do that. Then in the Runemaster tree, we're kind of just trying to get towards the end nodes here, the Brand of Deception stuff. That's pretty much the whole point of these. So I just put 1 point here, 1 point here, grab some word per second when you have int, which we have, grab DR because this is good. Everything's going to be shocked and chilled and all that stuff. A little bit of mana just because we need the points. Then I go here, grab this for the move speed. We're going to be cycling through focus channeling, and you can also use Flame Rush, just alternating. You can also automate Runic Invocation with Flame Rush. You can use it to autocast Runic. Then I take the more damage here. You can also run Frostfall if you want. This will give you more damage. If you think you need it, you would probably drop the Flame Ward. We take this just for the cooldown reduction. This is probably not necessary, but I think cooldown reduction is pretty good, so I take it. This node is one of the most important nodes. This gives you all of the armor into ward conversion. It's a very powerful node for this build. Then you take this, we have Ellie Pen and applying Brand of Deception. Then we have Shock Chance plus a more multi for your Brand of Deception. Then none of these nodes really do much. And that's pretty much the passives. Onto the skills. So focus, obviously you want focus. Here I'm taking the haste. I think I'm going to stop channeling every now and then, cast Flame Rush, and then channel again. That might be the play, just so you get a little bit more mobility, and then you're also going to get whatever buffs from Flame Rush, which is also a channeled ability. So that's kind of the idea here, just to get haste. Eventually, you can run the new Uber Aberoth Relic. It gives you perma haste if you think that's worth it. I do think haste is valuable, just because you're going to want more movement speed for this build. Then you go into here to grab the armor. You have all the lightning stuff just to get the no cooldown. This I don't think is actually necessary. If you can get a bit more cooldown reduction, you can probably just not run this at all. And even then, if you're not going to be stopping the focus channel, you would also not really need this. If you don't take this, you just take the extra nodes and put them into the all the DR nodes. You see like DR against shocked enemies, DR against ignited enemies, DR against chilled enemies. So you just take that. Then these mana regen nodes, I think these are generally not bad to take just to get a bit more mana regen with your focus. For Lightning Blast, I think the main thing here is that you want to get the more multipliers because those will be transferred onto the Brand of Deception. So how you build this, it's a little bit up to you, but I thought I would take the blind. Then we have a little bit of damage here. We have the chains, and then I think divergence is important because you're going to be hitting a lot of enemies with the lightning blast. I also grab lightning aegis. Keep in mind when you take damage to your ward, it will still pop your lightning aegis based on your max health, but take it anyway because it'll help with the big hits while you have it up. Another thing to note is that when you are fighting bosses, you can also take 1 point out of here to put this below 15, and then it won't overwrite your Runic Invocation Brand of Deception. Currently in the game, if you have a big Brand of Deception applied and then you apply a smaller one, it seems like it overwrites it. They did fix it for some ailments where it won't overwrite a huge one with a small one if the remaining damage of the big ailment is larger, but they didn't mention Brand of Deception for that, so we'll have to see if they do fix this. But yeah, if not, you can just take a point out of here. For Flame Rush, this is just kind of standard stuff here. I don't bother with the Frenzy because it doesn't really do much for us, but I do take the speed. You have cooldown, some DR stuff. This is really nice. And then you convert it into cold just so that you can put it on your bar for the Runic Invocation that we want. And then I take this Subjugation Brand. It doesn't really do that much. But yeah, you can take it anyway. Then for the Runic Invocation, we want a bunch of more damage. I take Immutable Order because I like it. You're going to be channeling the focus, and you do get runes while channeling. So this generally feels pretty good. You're just going to be channeling focus, which builds up your runes, and then you just pop the Runic Invocation that you want on like a boss or a high health enemy, and you do a bunch of damage. So yeah, basically that's the idea. You take all of the more multipliers in the tree that you can get. So there's some here, some here. If you're going to be automating your Runic Invocation with Flame Rush, that is the node here. But otherwise, this is what your tree would probably look like. For the Runic Invocation that you want to use, it's important that you have Cold as your middle rune so that it works with fundamental criterion. It doesn't really matter which rune you choose as long as Cold is in the middle. I personally found that Covenant Arc was one of the best ones because it also gives you a shock chance buff, which will give you the more multiplier. Feel free to experiment with different ones as long as the cold is in the middle. Then for the last bit, I just took Flame Ward. In the gameplay I just showed you, I wasn't using Flame Ward because I need to have Lightning Blast on my hotbar. In the 1.2 build where Lightning Blast is automated, you won't need it on your hotbar, and then you can put either Flame Ward or I think Frost Wall would be another option. You could also grab a bunch of flat armor here, which would be nice, but it would convert your fire auras globally into cold, which I believe would give you cold shred instead of lightning shred. So that is how we're shredding lightning resist currently because we have the lightning auras, but otherwise we have here increased fire damage. This is giving us as lightning, so we have increased lightning damage. You just pop this for a little bit more damage before doing your big brand. Then for the blessings, I take XP because COF. We take shock here because that's giving us the huge more multiplier. We have 6% more damage per point of shock. So you can see here we have shock per int. So that's where that comes from. Increased armor because we're stacking armor. Armor while channeling. We're basically always channeling. All res, you probably don't really need this. You could even get all res on your shield, or you could get T7 if you want. But yeah, all res. Then we have Ward Decay Threshold. Otherwise, not that many things are useful. Then moving over to the idols. I don't know how realistic these are, but I did take the shock on hit. This is 30% shock on a 1x2 idol, that's like huge value. This will be #1 priority no matter what for your idols. If you can't get the second one, not that big of a deal. But I took DOT Frailty. It's just a decent way to apply frailties, I think. So I got a few of those. Here we have some word per second, word retention, more of the same. And then for these ones, just get a little bit of res. If you're missing res, idols is still a good place to get it. So I took some of that. And then here we just have some lightning pen, lightning damage. I don't even know if these are the best, but this will depend on what kind of idols you can get in Season 1.2. If you can get something like this is probably fine. Then moving over to the items, just to go through that. So Cleaver Solution. Obviously this is, I think, best in slot for the build just because you're getting so much value out of it. Huge amount of int, which also gives you a huge amount of shock, which gives you a huge amount of more multiplier for Brand of Deception. So yeah, that's really high value. Fundamental Criterion. This is fairly easy to get with LP, and you get pretty big more multipliers on your Runic Invocation. It's just generally a good item. And you get levels of Runic Invocation, which gives you even more damage through the skill tree. Then Bastion of Honor, just because you're already stacking strength, you get 100% block chance, you can get more block effectiveness. This gives you a huge amount of defense, very strong item. Mana Guide, obviously this is critical for the build. This is how it functions. Zooming around with focus gives you all the defense while also being mobile, and automating your Lightning Blast for brand application. The Helm, this is a bit of a wild card, so you can do the set crafting now. This is reforged. I did double T7 with the set and the strength. You would do this with, you need to find a double T7 helm, and then you would do a Rune of Havoc on it to get the double T7 onto the affixes that you want. That might be tricky to do. If not, you would just do T5 strength with T7 of the set. So then you would just have any T7 helm of a base that you want. You would set craft on the shock chance and then just Rune of Havoc until you get T7 shock chance. That's #1 priority here, is the shock chance per int. It's very high value. Then for the belt, this is a bit of a wild card. I just took strength. I sealed on a cleanse here, get a bit of cooldown, a bit of lightning damage, armor crit mitigation. Red rings with T7 strength, obviously this is probably best in slot. You get the all attributes, you get the all res, you get movement speed. Basically everything on this is good. You even get the DR too. So yeah, 2 of those. The gloves, this is a Uber Aberoth drop, so this probably won't be realistic for a lot of people early on. If you don't get this, just grab any glove with strength, ideally Eternal Gauntlet, just any Eternal Gauntlet with strength. Put some other decent stats on it, like you can put damage over time on gloves, and then some like defensive stats, armor on suffixes, resist, whatever you need. This is probably just going to be exalted. Then boots, you have a lot of options for boots. I am a pretty big fan of Blood of the Exile just because it has a lot of move speed. It also has strength already on it, so that's pretty much the main reason why I use it. It's not that hard to get LP, so yeah, you slam strength and then try and get whatever else you can if you have room. Then for the relic, there's a few options here. So Twisted Heart is one option. You get a bunch of strength, you get plus level of elemental skills, and you can slam on even more strength. It gives you a bit of health, which you don't really care about that much. Cast speed is you don't really care about. So that's one option. Another option would be Storm Carved. So this gives a lot of shock and some lightning pen, bit of mana. This is not a bad option as well. The other option would be the Shattered Worlds. This gives all attributes, so that's already strength. It also gives you +1 all skills, perma haste, and perma slow immunity plus less DOT on the implicit. So you could do something like this as well if you manage to get one of these. That's it's up to you. Perma haste would be a big quality of life. So yeah, that's something that you can do as well. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much the build. I hope you guys like it. Let me know what you think. If you have any suggestions, also let me know. And I will be in the Discord channel in the description. So if you want to talk about this build, share your ideas or feedback, feel free to join the Discord as well. Until next time, peace.